When I first got into the car business, I would do almost anything in order to close a deal because my deals were few and far between. But early on in the business, I was doing a lot of Google AdWords marketing and brokering or helping people locate new Porsches and Range Rovers. Originally, it was Range Rovers at over sticker, and then it was Porsches at below sticker, because a lot of the smaller market dealers didn't know how to market nationally and find buyers other than their local people, which they weren't really supposed to do. But then the really big volume dealers, that's what they did. So if you did it, but you didn't do it enough, you would get penalized by Porsche. But if you did it and did it well enough, you'd get even more and more cars and get praised by Porsche. So it was a little bit of a two-faced message from Porsche, but either way, I was inserting myself into the situation and making a little bit of money by helping people find new Caymans and 911s at a discount and helping smaller market dealers increase their volume. So in doing this, I sold a new, at the time, Porsche Cayman to a customer of mine out in Salt Lake City, Utah. And he wanted it like that weekend. So he's like, just drive it out to me. That way you can do the break-in period. I'm like, okay, no problem. And we were going to get Clear Bra installed, but we couldn't do it quickly enough. So I got that, like blue-green painter's tape that you see sometimes at track days and just stuck that all over the front and got in the car and went for a road trip because why not? Had nothing else to do. It was super fun. The Cayman was quite new at the time, so it was actually an interesting car. It would turn heads. And it definitely turned the head of a police officer somewhere in Arkansas. And he was in a late model Camaro police car. Late model, I say that. It was like a 2001. It was the old B4C package, I think it was. I was cruising along, saw him go the other way, thought everything was fine. And 10 minutes later, he comes up behind me with his lights on. And the cruise set at 89. I still remember this. It was a 75 mile an hour zone, which out there, like 89 is jogging. So he pulled me over and was asking all about the car. He's like, man, what is this? I've never seen one. This is amazing. And usually that means I'm not going to get a ticket, right? It's kind of the exchange. All right, you pulled me over, got a cool car, ask about the car. All right, cool, have a nice day. Here's your warning, slow it down, wink, wink. No, he came back with a ticket. I was like, all right, come on, officer. There was literally a minivan. I still remember this. It had Michigan plates. Like there was a minivan that passed me. I had my cruise set at 89. They were going faster. Why not them? And he goes, and I'm going to say this in a Southern accent because that's how I remember it. Maybe Arkansas isn't Southern, but he goes, because you got the fastest dang looking car I've ever seen out here. It's like, okay, I get a ticket because I have the fastest looking car. That's not really fair, but whatever. Finished the rest of the trip. My client made fun of me, but also offered to pay for my speeding ticket, which I declined. I said, no, that one's on me. It wasn't required to get you the car in time. So I got the car there, washed it in his driveway, and stayed for a couple days because they had a track day coming up at Miller Motorsports Park, which is not that anymore, but I don't know what it's called now. A friend of mine was organizing the track day, and another friend and client was flying in to be an instructor because he's a pro driver, he's run Le Mans and everything like that. That guy flew in, the instructor. He's a racer, and I've learned that racers also are really big partiers. So the night before the track day, a few of us went out on the town and found a non-Mormon bar where they serve alcohol and really tied one on. So we were a little bit late getting to the track day. I didn't think it was that big of a deal because I had nothing to do, but it soon became apparent that it was a very big deal because there was an instructors meeting that my friend flew out there to instruct was supposed to be at. This was mandatory. He might be forgiven because he's a Le Mans winning race car driver for missing a local track events instructor briefing session. The person running this track event took it very seriously, as he should. He wants to keep everybody safe. And so there's quite a bit of a clash of egos going on here. The guy running the track day basically said, hey, Mike, you can't instruct because you weren't at the instructors meeting. And Mike was like, bro, I flew out here on my own dime, on my private jet, to come out to do you a favor. Don't tell me I can't instruct. And I'm just sitting here like watching all this go down like, I don't know nothing. Afterwards, the organizer of the event felt badly. So he goes, hey, Mike, take my Track Prep GT3 around. You can just use it today, drive all you want. I usually don't like riding with people on a track. That's how people die. And also I get motion sick. So that's almost a hard no when somebody offers me a ride. However, when a Le Mans winning race car driver is really angry and driving the person's car at whom he's angry, and he offers you a ride, you say yes. And that was the greatest track moment of my life. 996 GT3, fully set up for tracking, one of the greatest cars I've ever driven, let alone ride in the passenger seat, with a Le Mans driver. And there's a saying, this car was never driven in anger. And most car guys know what that means. It's like, oh yeah, I didn't miss a shift, I wasn't banging gears, whatever. This car was driven in anger by a pro. So when we're like talking about race cars and when they need axles and gearboxes and engines rebuilt, there's always an hour spec for when they need to be rebuilt. But there's a difference between hours and racing hours. So if you're a track day guy or a gentleman racer and the gearbox rebuild on 997 Cup is 40 hours, okay, it's probably actually 100 hours. 40 is 40 race hours, because there's a very real difference between a race car driver and somebody who thinks they're a race car driver. Well, this was a real race car driver driving in anger, and he made this car do things that I didn't know cars could do. I'm in the passenger seat, like doing this, trying to hit the brake. He's still accelerating down the straight, and at the last minute, he just like slaps the brake, turns the wheel a little bit, and like gets the car upset, and then the car's just scrubbing off speed into the turn by the friction of him turning. And so he just like hits the brake, gets the car turned, and just like uses that to turn, and then is just like sliding out of the corner. We lapped an Enzo in a 996 GT3, which isn't saying much. Guys with Enzos don't drive very fast, but we were absolutely flying. It was the greatest moment of my life. I'll never be able to repeat it. The icing on the cake for that track day, though, was that the other half of Miller Motorsports Park, a bunch of cars with stickers started showing up. And I realized it was the Gumball 3000. So they had the track for the day. So all these Gumball cars start rolling in. And of course, it was a private event. So there was no spectators like there are at a lot of the start and stop points. But we're there. There's no restrictions. So I got to like mingle with all the Gumball people and the cars and stuff like that and see them. I don't know who they were. I think Travis Barker was the only celebrity that I recognized at the time. He was there in his Rolls Royce. But it's really cool because I got to kind of crash the Gumball 3000 track day and get the absolute ride of my life.
We love Lemon Squad because they can have a certified inspector out to look at a car that you're considering buying within 1 to 3 days. It's the most powerful way to be the shrewdest negotiator possible in a used car transaction. But sometimes even that isn't quick enough, and sometimes you're pressured by a dealership staff or a salesperson into making a decision on the spot. So they have launched the perfect solution for this, Lemon Squad Live. It allows you in less than 2 minutes to set up a video call with one of their certified inspectors at the car you're looking at, so they can help you walk through what to look for and what to walk away from. It's the best way to avoid these high pressure, difficult situations where a used car can be a lot to take in and you want to make the best buying decision possible. Using one of their certified inspectors can help you figure out if the paint doesn't match and what to look at for consumable items like brakes, tires, and things like that. How to check the fluids, how to check the functionality of the infotainment. Anything that you need to look around a car to be the most qualified and researched buyer possible. Lemon Squad Live is here to help, so check them out now at the link in the description below or by using the QR code on your screen.